Oh my goodness. Okay, I made a mistake. Hello lovelies, if you're new here, my name is Ashley with Ashley's Reads on Twitter or of Fiction and Fantasy on Instagram and TikTok, and today I am here to tell you about my January TBR. I am, as usual, very behind with footage that I want to film, but I talked it over with some of my friends and they told me to go ahead and just get the January TBR up because it's already January 4th when I'm filming this, and it'll probably be the 5th or the 6th when I edit this. So we're gonna go ahead with the TBR. Some other content that I'm going to get out as quickly as possible. I want to do my top 12 of 2021, and I am still finishing 3 December books, and I'm pretty confident that I already know which book is my favorite book for December, so I think I already have my top 12, but I just want to give those 3 the benefit of the doubt. But the December book may have been my favorite book of the year, so they have some pretty high competition. Other than my top books of 2021, maybe just some general stats. I started using the compile system for like half of last year's books, so I'm not really sure how I want to organize that, and I'm still trying to count how many books I read last year, but I know that I read over 70 and I think over 75, but I don't want to jinx it. Hopefully immediately after filming this I will get to film an announcement video for a readathon that I have created for February, and I have 3 of the most amazing co-hosts and I am so excited to tell you all about it and very hyped for that. And what else? I am also need to update my challenge of reading Becca's favorite books of 2020 so that I can try it again in 2021. And I also need to update Michael's trying to read my favorite book last year, and I also need to post a 12 and 12 challenge that I am doing with my friends. And then we may, I'm not ready to talk about my wrap-up videos. I'm gonna figure that out too. So we have a lot of content coming, but we have to start somewhere. So we're starting with the January TBR. So I think you guys are going to be very surprised if you're regulars on my channel. But for my January TBR, I have formatted this to only participate in one readathon, and that is the Exploreathon. So going forward in 2022, I want to try and have a smaller selection of books that I am reading or hoping to read on my TBR so that I don't feel as overwhelmed as I did last year. So what I'm going to do is base it on the amount of books that I read the month before and then add 5. So then I will ideally keep my books. So for example, if I read 7 books last month, then I would allow myself to have 12 books on my TBR for the next month. And then if I get a book tour book or something added after I've already made my TBR, or if I'm taking part in a readathon that doesn't allow doubling up and there's like 12 prompts, then that's just like the overall goal, but it will obviously differ every month. So we'll see how that goes. I currently have a freelance project with a book that I am going to be assisting in marketing. This marketing plan does not include putting the book on YouTube. It is using my other platforms instead, but I am reading it this month. And it is a freelance project, so I just wanted to be very transparent with you guys. As always, my book reviews and my wrap-ups and so on will be completely transparent and objective. I have put book tour books on here, I have read advanced review copies or books sent to me from authors for free, and I have never lied to you guys about a review before, and I have absolutely no intentions of doing so with my freelance projects either. So I will mention the books that I'm reading if they are in marketing plans, and I will tell you my honest opinion in all of my videos. So yes, let's get on to the TBR. I'm so happy. The Exploreathon is a space-based readathon, and it's kind of like a competition. I want to use the term Olympics, but that's not right. It's just kind of like different, it's kind of like different competitions and Olympics, but they're all like sci-fi themed sort of. So I'm just gonna get into the prompts, which I have prepared today, which I have prepared for you in this adorable little binder that I got for 75 cents. So thanks, Staples. Okay, so for the Exploreathon, the first prompt is archery, which is to read a book that is a 5-star prediction. Oh, I have to get my cute photo. So the first prompt is archery, which is to read a book that is a 5-star prediction. For this one, I'm hoping to read Lightbringer by Legrand. This is book 3 in the Furyborn trilogy. So I don't want to spoil my 2021 favorites, but I will spoil it a little bit and say at least one of the books in the series I believe made it into my top 12. Okay, it's really cold here, so we are switching to a cardigan. Book 2 is one that I read a few months ago as a buddy read with my friend Megan, and I've been saying this a lot lately on my, well, you guys haven't seen my wrap up, so you don't know that I've been crying a lot lately from books, so I don't know if like, am I more emotional in the winter or are books just destroying me emotionally? So not sure, but so I'm not sure what the reasoning is, but normally I don't really cry at books. Like I might get a little choked up or I'll be like, oh dude, that's super sad. But like normally I don't cry. So when I read book 2, Furyborn, a couple of months ago, Michael came right upstairs to get ready for bed and I was just crying on the bed and he was like, well, what's wrong? And I was like, the ending is fake. It didn't happen. I refuse. There is a reason. I don't know why, but I am completely broken. So I can't really say anything more than that, but Legrand absolutely destroyed me and I have to know what happens in this book, and it's so chunky, so there better be a really freaking good explanation for the ending of book 2 because so I'm hoping this is a 5-star prediction because book 2 was definitely 5 stars in my opinion. And yeah, if you have not read Furyborn, it follows a dual POV. It's actually multiple POV, but I think like the 2 main characters are set like 1,000 years apart or thousands of years apart in different eras, like before and after a great war. And this is a new adult fantasy, I believe, and it follows a prophecy about 2 queens, and one of them is the Sun Queen who is supposed to save the world, and one of them is the Blood Queen who is going to like start this war and bring the world into ruin. And so they don't know which queen is who. And so I just found it's so interesting, and there's like time travel and teleportation and angels and slow burn. It's really good. There's like, it's great. And this is also a buddy read with my friend Megan. I don't think either one of us are sure if we're getting to Lightbringer this month, but I am going to attempt. Prompt 2 is dueling, and that is to read a book with multiple POVs. So Bailey, when you watch this, I know you're going to roll your eyes at me, so just go ahead, get it over with. Love People Use Things by the Minimalist. This is it was an advanced reader's copy from Bookish First and Celadon Books, so thank you to Celadon Books. I put a dual POV because it's nonfiction, but it's written by 2 people who think that they know everything, and that's all. It's about minimalism. So I've only brought this up one time about this book, and I try to be polite about everything on this channel, so I will still be polite, but I am feeling kind of sassy in 2022, so I will mention one of the authors on Twitter said that gift giving is not a love language, and it's the equivalent of saying that Pig Latin is a real language. So in order to respect his wishes, when I am done with that book, I will recycle it because I'm sure he wouldn't want me to give it to anyone. Anyways, the third prompt is a 500-meter dash, and that is to read a short read. So this is the book that I am working on. So this is the book that I am working on for my freelance project with Nicole, and this book, this is an ebook. So we just started this project and it was too late for her to get me a physical copy, which is so fine. So this is a novella, and this is called, oh my god, I didn't write the title down. It's called Unsteady by Nicole Northwood, and this one I believe is somewhere between 50 to 60 pages, and it involves, I have not started reading this yet, and I very vaguely last night skimmed the synopsis, so this is definitely going to be wrong, but I think it's about 2 strangers who meet, and it is like a forced proximity romance. So they end up having to, they get stuck in like a snowstorm and they end up having to spend the night together. So I think it's like one of, I don't know if it's like one of those there was only one bed or there was only one room tropes, but I love that trope. And I'm really excited to read this. I glanced at the first page and I could already tell that the writing seemed really good. So I am very excited. It is a, I believe it is a new adult contemporary romance. Prompt 4 is flying, and that is to read a book that makes your heart soar or a romance. So again, I could have read on the book that I just said, Unsteady, but because I hate myself and I really want to get to this book, even though I know this will probably be the first to get chopped off my list because almost everything else is a book club read. Oh my goodness. Okay, I made a mistake. Okay, I did forget 2 books, but I only found one of them. So that is a problem for future Ashley. The romance that I have picked is Kingdom of the Curse by Kerri Maniscalco. This is so pretty. So I actually really wanted to read this series because I went to Books A Million and I saw this book and I just thought the map was so pretty. And they weren't selling a hardcover of Kingdom of the Wicked, so I had to borrow one from my library just so that I could read it. And I actually thought that Kingdom of the Wicked was just like average, to be honest. Like, I really liked the romantic interest Wrath. I thought that the dialogue was witty, but I just felt like it was kind of a lot of just, I just felt like the plot was a little bit like aimless. Like the main character changed her mind, it felt like almost every chapter, and just kind of did random things, and then we ended up at the end. So the plot arc was a little, but it was definitely worth it to want book 2. So it's kind of just like a guilty pleasure read. I really want to see what happens and I want more of Wrath. So, ooh, okay, this would look really good with my candle though, also. And I also got this book for Christmas from my Secret Santa from the Atlantis Book Club. If you have not read Kingdom of the Wicked, which is just huge everywhere, I feel like you probably already know the synopsis, but just in case, it follows this girl Amelia who is a twin, and her twin sister dies, and she takes it upon herself to get vengeance for her sister by finding her sister's murderer, and she wants to kill him or her or them herself. And so she kind of falls down a path of making deals with demons in order to, so she makes the decision to make a deal with a demon in order to find her sister's murderer, and she finds out along the way that things are a lot more complicated than she originally thought. So again, it was a decent book. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars, something like that. So I'm very excited to read this, and this will also be a buddy read with my book bestie Laura. The 5th prompt is a book with a weapon on the cover, and okay, weapon on the cover. For this one, I will be reading These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan. And this one, actually at my suggestion, is a book club pick with the Atlantis Book Club. So I'm super, super excited to read this. I'm trying to get it like out of the ring light glare. But I figured since I was the one who put it on the poll, I should put aside the ones that I'm catching up on with the Atlantis Book Club and read this one. So I'm really excited, and I'm hoping to start this really soon. I forgot to describe These Hollow Vows other than that there is a weapon on the cover. I think it is a love triangle between this redhead girl and these 2 shadowed men in the background. I actually don't despise love triangles if they're done right. I really like when like everyone ends up friends in the end, but this is a fantasy and it is a weapon on the cover, so they may die. Anyways, prompt 6 is navigation, and that is to read a long read. For this one, I will be reading Triad by Brittany Weisrock, and I believe that this is a new adult romance that is a shapeshifter romance with a twist, and I have been told that it is a fast burn in book 1, but book 2 is a slow burn. So I'm like honestly super intrigued by how we get to that, and I really want to get to the sequel because it's just gorgeous. And that the love interest, he is a cinnamon roll who's also sexy. Is that right? So this one was very kindly provided to me, a free copy by Brittany, and so thank you so much. This is by Lake County Press, and I forgot to mention earlier, but I have been hired by Lake County Press as an influencer. So basically I just get to read the books and review them. So all of my reviews, again, are completely honest and objective, and I am allowed to DNF books and allowed to only ask for copies of the books that I'm actually interested in. And I have discovered this publisher sometime towards the end of last year, and they are a small press, and I think the term is small press, and I am honestly just so impressed by all of the authors and staff there. Like, everyone is so kind, and it's been so nice to get to be on that team, and I'm very excited. The next prompt is plant and wildlife identification. And so this one is a pretty cover. And so for this one, I picked 6 Crimson Cranes, and I would like to start out by saying that this cover, by Elizabeth Lynn, and I think that this cover is beautiful, but I picked this as a pretty cover because the UK cover is also just so pretty. And so I really, if I love this one enough that I would want to reread it, I'm going to buy the UK edition instead of this one because it's pale pink and blue, and those are 2 of my top 3 favorite colors. So I love it. Red is actually my favorite color, but the other one is just pastel, and I believe she's a princess, and I believe that she has 6 brothers, and for some reason they are like cursed to turn into cranes. That kind of gives me Swan Princess vibes, but that's not the right fairy tale at all. And I think that she is trying to either use magic herself or find someone with magic who can save her brothers. And so, yes, that's all that I know, but I did pick this book because it was a very highly anticipated read for me last year that I did not get to. So I picked this book for the Shelf This Book Club, which is run by my great friend Bailey at Is Bailey Reading, who I will link below. And she does this book club that is very unique in that she is like the creator and the host of the book club. She asks the questions and helps like navigate picking the host and everything like that. But she picks someone each month from the book club, and they pick a book from like their favorite genres. For me, I am known as reading fantasy tomes, so staying true to my honor. I picked 6 Crimson Cranes, and so everyone is reading that this month, and I will be hosting, or I will be co-hosting the live show. So I will be co-hosting the live show on my channel, I believe January 30th. And I am nervous because I've never hosted a live show on my channel, so hopefully you guys can see it. Hopefully I can figure out how to use StreamYard, and I'm just really excited to read this. Next prompt is Animal Companion Obstacle Course, which is that animals are featured. So for this one, I did double up 6 Crimson Cranes because cranes, and I feel weird calling that animals because they're people who were turned into cranes, but the next prompt is Animal Companion Riding Race, and that is to read a book with a strong friendship. I'm genuinely so confused. Okay, so for this one, I will be reading The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan. I probably brought it upstairs. So for Christmas, my friend Michael got me the entire first trilogy of the Wheel of Time series. So it's The Eye of the World, The Great Hunt, and Dragon Reborn, I think. And so I'm very excited to read that, and I'm pretty sure that I left it upstairs. To be honest, I'm just not going to get it. So here, have this copy image here. So this is the sequel. I am reading this on a server read along with Andy and Friends server. And I am also, I think, doing a buddy read with some of my friends from the Atlantis Book Club. And if you guys remember the Aurelium readathon from October, or that used to be known as the Magical Readathon, that is hosted by G at Book Roast. That is my final prompt, and I am allowed to complete it anytime before April, I believe, when the next part of the readathon starts for my character to be able to live. So I'm very excited. The Eye of the World is like a very popular adult fantasy series, or Wheel of Time. So you probably, again, already know the plot, but if you don't, I don't know how to describe it to you. I think if I had to say in like one sentence, magical wizard shows up into town, abducts some children, kind of by their own free will, takes them on long journey after sort of saving their lives, for the reason of a prophecy. Seems like a very morally gray character under the guise of being good. Yeah. I think I gave it 4.5 stars though. There were a few parts in the beginning that kind of dragged out, but then the ending just was like, okay, I need the whole book wrapped up in one page. I was so confused. It was like a dream sequence, and then it was over. I want to read all of Wheel of Time, and then I'm going to start Brandon Sanderson's books. moving on. Ooh, this candle smells so good. Okay. A magic tournament, and this is to read a book with that is a fantasy or with a magical element. So that was so easy because everything I'm reading this month is fantasy. But instead of doubling up, I will be reading Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which is so pretty. I just got this in the mail today from HarperCollins, so thank you guys so much. I was not expecting this at all. Oh, I just realized that the planets, or like the flowers and everything, are reflective. If you can see that. Oh, that's so pretty. So yeah, this is gorgeous, and I think this comes out this month, and I am on a book tour with Turn the Page Tours, and I think my tour date is like the 18th or something like that. I already got an ebook from NetGalley from them like before the tour from HarperCollins, and I was already so excited. And now I have this, which I didn't know I was getting. I think I already said that, but I'm still so excited. So yeah, I'm starting this today. I actually couldn't tell you what this is about. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. Okay, so this is a fantasy that is inspired by a legend of the Chinese moon goddess, in which a young woman's quest to free her mother sets her on a dangerous path and pits her against the most powerful immortal in the realm. Okay, the next prompt is gymnastics, which is to read a book with a twist. So for this one, I picked Noragami Volume 3 by Adachitoka. And this is a buddy read with my brother Noah, so I just needed to put it somewhere. I don't know that I would recommend this series. I think I've given volumes 1 and 2 like 2 stars. And it's a graphic novel / manga. And I have not read, I think the last time I read one was like 6 months to a year ago. So I couldn't really even describe to you what the first one was about. It's like an exiled god or something like that, and he is not a bounty hunter, but basically like a freelance god who does things, who does like local neighborhood tasks for gold, and he like accidentally his life is saved by some student girl. I don't remember their ages, but I think it was kind of odd, and she like saves his life, and so they're like connected with like a soul bond or something. That's so completely inaccurate, so like look up the synopsis yourself if you must. Okay, swimming prompt is to read a book which involves water or a water setting, and for this one I will be reading Dark and Shallow Lies by Ginny Myers Sain. Woo, I'm covering the author name. So this one I got from my library, and I actually had an advanced reader's copy e-arc of this from Edelweiss. So thank you so much to Razorbill, and I'm sorry that I am reading this so late, but I picked up a hard copy because it would just be easier for me to read this, and then I will submit my review online. I picked this as a water setting because the cover, if you can tell, is water, and this is set in the deep Louisiana bayou. So it's about a group of kids who are now all grown up and young adults, and they all were born on the same day, and there's some kind of like, not prophecy, but like some kind of connection that they have, and some of them or all of them have like, not sci-fi, but like some kind of magical element to how they are connected, and one of them died. So they're all coming back for the funeral, but at least one of them wants to figure out what happened to the one that died. So I think it's like a murder mystery thriller with maybe some magical / sci-fi elements to it. So I do think that it's really cool. I don't actually have any reason that I haven't gotten to it yet that has to do with interest. I've just been working through an ARC backlog, and it's quite bad. The next one is language fluency, and that is to read a book that is translated or set outside of the USA. So for this one, I picked A Valiant Deceit by Stephanie Graves, and I'm very excited to read this. I have the first book. It's probably upstairs, but it's Olive Bright Pigeoneer. And I got that one from Bookish First, and this one I got from NetGalley, and shout out to Kensington Books for this one. I'm very, very excited because this is one of my top 4 most anticipated books for 2022, which still feels so weird to say. And basically, This is like a historical fiction, I think set during World War II. So the first one is telling the story of Olive Bright, who is a pigeoneer. Her father has put her in charge of her pigeons, their family's like pigeon loft, and she really wants to get them into the National Pigeon Service to be able to help with delivering messages throughout, again, I think it's World War II. And it's set in London. And she is approached by people in the first book who she thinks are the National Pigeon Service, but it is quite complicated. And she gets herself into like a whole murder mystery and like a secret position. And it's quite wild, and I really enjoyed it. There was a very good slow burn romance. And I gave it 4.5 stars. I said the only thing that could make it better is if there was a sequel, and now there is, so I changed it to 5 stars. I just really loved it. It was really cozy, and I read that one last Christmas in January, so I would love to read this one a year later. Super hyped. The second to last prompt is an obstacle course, and this is to read a book that I am a little unsure about. So for this one I picked Rhapsodic by Thalassa, and I still know nothing about this book except that there is someone called the Bargainer, and I think the main character is a siren who like made a deal with him that she's finally has to pay. So I'm unsure about this because I am only reading this. It was in Becca's like top 5 from 2020, and that is part of a reading challenge that I am doing. This is a buddy read with my friend Laura, and Laura gave it 2.5 stars because she already read it. And we usually have really similar taste, but I also usually have really similar taste to Becca, who gave it 5 stars. So I'm very conflicted about what I'm going to think about this book. I think it's rated below 4 stars on Goodreads as well. The final prompt is talent competition, and this is to read a book that relates to a skill. So for this one, I have picked The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, and this one is, I believe, the first in a trilogy, and I really don't know anything about this book, but I am reading it as a read-along. I think it's just called The Poppy War Read-Along, but I will link them down below. This is the first month, so everyone is reading The Poppy War this month, and then the sequel next month, and I think book 3 in March. I think on the synopsis on Goodread, it verbatim used the words skill and competition, but I'm not sure. So I was like, oh, well, this fits perfectly and I need to read it. I wish I could tell you more about it, but I can't. So you should check out the read along and join with us if you're interested in a debut fantasy about a peasant, student, soldier, goddess. I don't know if that's 4 different characters or if one character is all 4 of those things, but either way, that sounds really interesting. And I don't see a lot of orange books, so I do like this. That is all of the books that I am hoping to read for the Exploreathon Readathon. And it's January 4th, and I have not started any of these books. So pray for me. I also have strategized a sort of, I see like people have like punishment jars or like TBR games. And so for this year, I want to do something that is a bit of a combination of that. So I have made up a TBR game that I only have to film myself playing if I have to have a punishment. So my goal is to read 52 books in a year, which is 1 book a week. And so my goal is to read 5 books a month, because then I'll have read 60 books and I will have surpassed my goal. So if I do not read 5 books a month off of my TBR, which like I'm allowed to make changes if I need to for a tour or a project, then I will play my TBR game. And hopefully you won't have to see it. I was gonna do it if I failed December so that you guys could see it this month, but I actually did incredible in December, so you won't see it. I'm really excited for January because I often let my anxiety get the best of me, and I have a really great idea or something that I want to go after, and then I don't do it because I'm like, oh, you're not talented enough, or oh, you shouldn't apply for that because you don't have the right experience. And now I have just like really started going after what I want because I know that I am capable of achieving my goals. So I've started promoting myself and like advocating for myself and applying for things or like going after things that I would not have in the past, and it is so far like turned out really well for me. So I'm just really excited that I am like forcing myself to chase after my goals, and I have started writing in my free time. I haven't written very much at all, but I like have a work in progress that I'm working on. This is not gonna change to like a writer tuber, whatever that's called, in the near future at all. Reading is still like my primary thing that I'm working on, and freelance projects now, and that's definitely more important to me right now than writing. But I have started working on my work in progress, and I'm very happy about that. And yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of good things that happen in 2022. And thank you guys so much for staying with me on this journey and for supporting me along the way. I love you guys.